Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back, Misfits, and welcome back to a new episode. Today, we're going to continue the conversation about the tabernacle, but we're going to talk about specifically about the holy place, which is a part inside of the tabernacle.
Right. So the holy place was part of the tabernacle tent, and it was a room where the priests conducted rituals to honor God. So when God gave Moses instructions on how to build the tabernacle, he ordered that the tent be divided into two parts: a larger outer chamber called the holy place and an inner room called the Holy of Holies. Inside the room called the holy place, there is the table, or the table of shadow bread, the lampstand, or the golden lampstand, and the altar of incense, or the golden altar. So you'll see these names kind of talked about interchangeably,
yes,
but just know they're the same. So the table, or the table of the shadow bread, was situated on the north side of the holy place. It was made of acacia wood overlaid with pure gold. It was also a constant reminder of God's everlasting covenant with his people and his provision for the 12 tribes of Israel, represented by the 12 loaves. The table of showbread and Israel's worship pointed forward to the future Messiah and his fulfillment of the covenant. The next one is the lampstand, or the golden lampstand, also known as the Menorah. First, it was very practical. It provided light for the holy place. It was an oil lamp and was constructed of solid gold. And the fact that it was made of solid gold was meant to represent deity and holiness. It was meant to burn continually because it was the only source of light in that area. It was made in the shape of a tree, which represented God's life-giving power. So God chose the resemblance of the lampstand to almond branches for a reason. The almond tree blooms very early in the Middle East, in like late January or February. Its Hebrew root word is shaked.
Shaked?
Shaked.
I don't know.
I'm pronouncing this very English. But basically it's spelled out like shaked. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it. But it means to hasten, telling the Israelites that God is quick to fulfill his promises. And then the golden lampstand also stood as a permanent reminder that God is the giver of all life. Like all of the other tabernacle furniture, the golden lampstand was a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ, the future Messiah, and it gave forth light. So we can see a lot of these parts, how they reflect back to Jesus and kind of that foreshadowing, just even the building of it, and then just the different parts of it, how we're seeing how, there was a Messiah, that Christ was going to come.
Yeah, similar to what we were talking about last week, how the armor of the Roman soldiers was also, not a foreshadowing, of course, but it was still a good example of how you can just relate to Christianity to like everyday things. So it's like you can talk about Jesus using parts of a tent, which is it's amazing.
And material
right?
that's in a tent.
The fact that it makes sense and we can apply it to our lives. The last part that we're going to talk about is going to be the altar of incense, or the golden altar. So this particular spot reminded the Israelites that prayer must play a central role in the life of God's people. The altar of incense stands between the golden lampstand and the table of showbread. Sweet-smelling smoke from the incense represented the people's prayers as they're ascending to God, and burning incense was a continuous act, just as we are to pray without ceasing. The altar of incense was considered part of the Holy of Holies, but since it required tending to so often, it was placed outside that chamber so priests could regularly take care of it and do their, daily responsibilities with it. If you've ever burned incense before, I under that you have to take care of it. Like you have to sweep the ash and just make sure that it's not burning the house down, especially in a tent. So definitely they had to tend to it daily, and they just had to be careful. So even though it was part of the Holy of Holies, it was just set right outside so they could manage it and get to it quicker. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the most holy place, or the Holy of Holies, which is the other section of the tabernacle. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode. We hope you learned something today, and then we'll be back next week with more info. As always, this is Fran.
This is Yadi.
And we are the Midtown Misfits, and we will see you next week.
Bye.